Hello everybody, this is Kozatsakas and this is our 13th tutorial in Photoshop. In this tutorial I'm going to introduce to you color models. So what are color models? Well, basically a color model is a way to describe the color of a pixel. And we're first going to look at the RGB color model, and that's the most commonly used color model out there. It's used 95% of the time, and probably every image that you have ever seen uses that color model. So if you understand that one, it's going to be really easy for you to understand any other color model. So let's just assume we have a pixel right here with a color on top of it. Well, where does this color come from? It is a combination of three different color components: the red, green, and blue color component. So the idea behind the RGB color model is that if you combine different quantities of each one of these colors, you can get different colors. And how these color components are called is channels. Now the level is the amount of color that a channel has, and it can get values between 0 and 255. So 0 means that you have no color, and 255 means that you have the maximum amount of color you could get. So if you had the red channel had a value of 0, it means you had no red color, that there was no red color involved in the composition of the color of this pixel. And how many different colors can you make? Well, you can make about 16 million different colors using these three channels that take values from 0 to 255. It's about 16 million colors. It's a staggering amount of colors. So let's just now go ahead and look at an example. Remember when you were kids and you were playing with colors, and whenever you combine those colors, well, what you got was different colors. For example, if you put yellow and blue, you got a green. If you put blue and red, you got a purple. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to see with a visual example how color models work. So let's just first have our red bucket over here. And this is our red bucket. And the red bucket is called the red channel. The red bucket is the red channel. And it can take values from 0 to 255. And this is the level. This is how full the bucket is. So let's just say we have a full bucket. So a full bucket means we have a value of 255. So the level has a value of 255. Now let's just add some green color. Now in order to make purple, the color that we're looking to make, we don't need any green color. So the green channel would be empty, or the green bucket would be empty if you were a kid. So that is 0 and that is 255. So you get a level that has the value of 0. And let's just add some blue color right now. Now the blue bucket is also going to be full because we want to make purple color. So let's just fill this bucket up. The blue bucket, or the blue channel. And 0 to 255. And the level would be 255 just because the bucket is full. So the result you would get is a purplish color. So this is what you would get. And this is what we expected it. So in the RGB color model, how this would be represented is RGB. The first one, the red color, has a value of 255. The green color has a value of 0, and the blue color has a value of 255. And that gives you this purple color. So let's just now look at another example. So what we're going to do is we're going to put three buckets that have different values, but they're just about middle values. Let's just try that. So the first bucket, let's just say it's going to have a value of 225, and that's close to the end. So 0, 255, 225 would be about here. Now let's just fill this over here. Let's just put some green as well, and the green bucket, let's just say it would have a value of 170. And if you've guessed it, I've done the calculations on a PC So I already know what the result is going to be. So let's just fill this up to 170. And the blue bucket is going to have a value of 60. So we have a little bit of a blue color up to about here. 60, that is 60 if you can see that. And let's just fill this up to here. And as you can see, we can now combine those three in order to make up our final color. And what that is going to be, just think about it a little bit. You're probably not going to find it. It's going to be a brown color, just like this one over here. So if we were to combine that amount of color from each channel, our pixel would basically get that color. Now the final thing I want to show you is what would happen if you had 3 full buckets or 3 empty buckets. And let's just make 3 full buckets. The green bucket over here and the blue bucket. And if you know this already, it's not going to be a surprise, but if you don't, just stop for a moment and think about it. Pause it over here and think what's going to happen. Well, if you didn't guess it, if you did, it's really hopeful, you're going to get a white color. So the maximum amount of each color gives you a white. So the more you have in each bucket goes towards white, whereas if we didn't have any color in our buckets and they were empty, we would basically get a black color. So empty buckets means black. And the black, I can't paint it, so I'm just gonna write it down with a black, just because the board is black, so I can't paint it over here. And now if we go in Photoshop and you click this little icon down here, that's the color picker. What you can do over here is you can select colors. And we're now going to see how the RGB color model works. So over here you can see those RGB values, and that's the RGB color model. So let's just first pick the white color. And as you can see, we get a full bucket on each one, a full channel. The levels are at 255, and we get a white color up here. Now if I select the black color down here, as you can see we have a black color selected, the R, G, and B values are 0. And let's just put in the values that we actually used and see what results we're going to get. So let's just put 255 on red and 255 on blue. And B stands for blue and R stands for red and G stands for green. But I guess you figured that out already. So as you see up here, we get a purple color, and just as in the example we did, we got that very same purple color as I showed you. Now let's just try the other example that we had, and that's 225, 170, and 60. And as you can see, we get this brownish color that we got in the example. So let's just recapitalize before we leave. Well, channels are the different color components, the red, green, and blue color components. And when you combine those three, you make up a color. And in the RGB color model, you have those 3 channels, you combine them, and you can pretty much make up any color. Now the levels is the amount of color each channel has. And combining different quantities of each color gives you of each component gives you different colors. So that's the idea. That's what a color model is. I hope you guys learned something and enjoyed this tutorial. So see you guys next time.